Hello there. Welcome into a Friday edition of the show. So glad to have you, whether you're listening on 740 KVOR, Extra Sports 1300, or you're listening on the streaming platforms of those two fine radio stations. And those apps are easy to find. They are free to download, free to use, and sponsored by Diversus Health, Mental Health, and Well-Being for All. It will be a veritable cornucopia of sports topics coming your way over the course of the program. Switchback striker Corey Bennett will be heard on this radio program, that coming up later this hour. And we're starting a new thing that producer Ray Dominguez and I are very excited about, and we think you'll like it. We are having some of the fellas from Iron Lion Collectibles in on this Friday to break some packs. And it's going to be a regular thing that we do. And the packs that we break, the cards that we open, you can go down to Iron Lion and get them. And we have a discount code for you to save money on them. So you've heard Jim Rome do this a little bit. We're going to dabble in this as well. And those guys are going to be coming up in hour number 2. In the meantime, it's you and me at 719-247-1313. You could call or text the show, and the aforementioned producer extraordinaire Ray Dominguez is standing by, eagerly awaiting your correspondence. If there was any doubt as to who is leading the NHL MVP race, which certainly hasn't gotten as much talk as the NBA MVP race, but there is also one going on in the NHL. If there was any doubt as to who the front runner is with 11, 12 games left in the regular season, Nathan MacKinnon cleared it up in one of the only buildings that has actually given him problems. MacKinnon had only scored 4 goals over the course of his career in Winnipeg, and hadn't scored one in Winnipeg in 3 years. And for that reason, the Avalanche had not won a regular season game up there in 3 seasons. Now, last night, Nathan MacKinnon scores not 1, but 2 goals, and the Avalanche beat the Jets 3-2. And right there, and I don't expect every NHL MVP voter to pick up on this. It is certainly something that is afforded to someone in my position that follows Nathan MacKinnon on a daily basis. But if any voter is listening, that's what an MVP does. What Nathan MacKinnon did last night. That's showing value, being the number one reason a team has success, even in a place that they have not had a lot of success. Back me up on this, Jared Bednar.
I'll tell you this, I didn't think those guys were having a great game for the first half. But again, you need some guys to step up and make some plays. And for me tonight, I like the way he made them.
He now leads the entire league by 4 goals in the Rocket Richard Trophy race, which he has never won in his career. He's 7 up on Connor McDavid and 8 up on Nikita Kucherov. Other names that are in the MVP conversation. To me, though, this has become a 2-man race. It's between Nathan MacKinnon and Nikita Kucherov, because I don't see how you can give Connor McDavid the MVP with the struggles that the Oilers are having. This is a bad Oilers season. Yes, the bar is set very high. But the fact of the matter is this is a bad Oilers season. They're not feeling great about things. So how can you give Connor McDavid the MVP in a season that is characterized as a bad season, or at least a below expectation season, where he isn't blowing everyone else out of the water statistically? Like, think back to 2021. He was up, 21, 23 points on everyone else? When that's the case, even if the team isn't the best team in the NHL or one of the three best teams in the NHL, you can give the guy the MVP if he's more than 20 points ahead of everyone else. I think that's fair. He's not. Right now, he's tied for the league lead in points with Nikita Kucherov, and Nathan MacKinnon is only 4 points back. So I don't think Connor McDavid, with, again, 11 games to go, at least from the Avs perspective, I don't think you can make a case for him. It's between MacKinnon and Kucherov, and I feel like we've seen this movie before. It seems inevitably whenever Nathan MacKinnon is up for an MVP, and it's been quite routine over the last few years, Nikita Kucherov is the other guy right there. And it's that way again. And Nikita Kucherov has a legitimate MVP argument. I just don't think it's a strong one as Nathan MacKinnon has right now. Because, and I already laid out, right? He's, 8 goals up on Nikita Kucherov. He's 4 points behind Nikita Kucherov. Not that you can necessarily do it this way, but it seems pretty clean. You combine those two things, and Nathan MacKinnon probably has a better statistical argument. But then you factor in that Nathan MacKinnon, because of the Avs' struggles on the power play, almost all of his production has been 5-on-5, which I think needs to be weighted heavier than what you do on the power play. And look, Nathan MacKinnon's produced on the power play. He produced on the power play last night. One of his 2 goals were as a 5-on-3 power play was expiring. But his numbers 5-on-5, both goals and points, by the way, better than Nikita Kucherov. I'm not going to call Nikita Kucherov a power play merchant. That's not a fair thing to levy against him. But when you say best on best, both teams at full strength, Nathan MacKinnon has been the best player in the league. And you have the numbers to back you up. And I think you will hear this coming out of Tampa if anybody makes the case. That's kind of the thing with Nikita Kucherov, isn't it? Like, where are the big proponents of Nikita Kucherov? Where's the Florida media to back him up? He just doesn't have a good PR machine behind him. I'll say that much. But if there is anybody down there that's trying to make the case Nikita Kucherov is the MVP of this league, I have little doubt that they will throw out the fact that Marty Necas is having an unbelievable season, which he absolutely is, and say Nathan MacKinnon has a better Robin to his Batman and maybe has 2 Robins with Cale Makar as well, as opposed to Nikita Kucherov, who has a real supporting cast. He's not doing it alone. But Brandon Hagel's not putting up the numbers, for instance, that Marty Necas is. Okay. Let's go into that here. I think it cuts both ways. Could I make the argument that the reason Marty Necas is having the season he's having is because he's playing with Nathan MacKinnon? About a third of Marty Necas' goals this year have been assisted by Nathan MacKinnon. So I think you can make the argument, but I think it cuts both ways. And maybe that becomes a push. And then you go back to the statistical argument, and then you add in the fact that the Avalanche have not just been the class of the league all year long. There was a long period of time, and it's getting to be that way again as the Avalanche finish off a perfect road trip where the Avalanche are head and shoulders above everyone else in the league. So it's like best player on best team multiplied because the best team is way better than everyone else, or at least has been way better than everyone else during the regular season. Nathan MacKinnon is the front runner for sure, but I will apply the same thing I have the last couple of days when it comes to the NBA MVP. And I will say that let's let it play out. Let's let this season finish, and then let's take everything into account. But I don't know how you can't say, with a little bit more than 10 games to go, that it's not Nathan MacKinnon's award to lose. And last night was just kind of one of those, you talk about Heisman moments. That was one of those MVP moments. Not necessarily a showcase game, but if you understand what the plight of the Avalanche has been in Winnipeg, then I think you hold that game up and you say that's an MVP type moment. But we'll let the rest of the season play out. Now, as far as the team is concerned, certainly some demons were exercised last night. In fact, a demon was exercised. You want to know why the Avalanche have struggled in Winnipeg? It's one dude. It's Connor Hellebuck. That's the reason. Point blank, period. Simple as that. We don't need to overcomplicate it. It's Connor Hellebuck. That's why they struggle so much up there. The best goalie in the world on home ice. Pretty simple. But how they beat him last night was pretty simple too. They invaded his space. All 3 goals last night were right on the doorstep. All 3 of them. The thing about Connor Hellebuck, he sees everything. So if you take a shot from distance, he's just going to see it better. Right? Especially if you don't have traffic out in front. Like, the key is you got to get bodies out in front. Whether they're the ones actually scoring the goal or they're trying to screen for somebody, you got to put bodies in front of them. You can't let them see the puck clearly. And then he's so big that there's not really a place to shoot. If everybody is kind of stationary and you just let it rip from the blue line, like, what are you shooting at? I mean, there's no open space in the goal because Connor Hellebuck is 6'5", but not in finance. You have to make him contend with you and teammates would be even better, and the puck. If you're away from him and you just send the puck on him, he's going to stop it. And if you can do all that, plus get him scrambling after a rebound, all the better. That's the first goal last night with Jack Drury. Malinsky puts the puck on net from the blue line, which is fine, but there's no chance that's going to beat Hellebuck. He can't control the rebound. Jack Drury, right there on the doorstep, taps it in. Second goal, I mentioned Nathan MacKinnon scoring it at the expiration of the 5-on-3. Kadri slips it across the face of goal. Hellebuck has to slide that 6'5" frame from one post to the other. And the best goal scorer in the league this year is standing right there on the other post. He's not going to miss that opportunity. And then the third was just a redirect off of a shot from Arturi Lehkonen. So they were exactly the type of goals that you have to try and score against Connor Hellebuck. We overcomplicate things sometimes. Get into the dirty areas, get your stick on the puck, and good things are going to happen. But that's not always the way the Avalanche like to play, is it? Because they are so supremely skilled, they feel at times, whether consciously or subconsciously, well, I don't have to do that. I'm much better than the guy I'm facing. I can beat him. Well, Sometimes it takes a little bit more effort. And as good as the Colorado Avalanche are and as skilled as they are, for a goalie, Connor Hellebuck's just as talented. So you got to get into him. But what I think should hearten you if you're an Avs fan, and I think it's a reminder. I don't think this is revelatory in any form or fashion. The Avs have that in their bag. It's not the way they want to play. It's not the way most of their games go, but it's, great teams can win in a lot of different ways. The Avalanche have that kind of game in their bag. They just need to be committed to it. And they can the Capitals game about a week ago was another great example of that. It was a low event, grinded out game, and the Avalanche said, okay, we'll do this. And they won. And so they get that effort. They close out the road trip. You could see kind of the killer instinct. This team sees the finish line, and they're going to run through it here. They're going to win this division, maybe going away. Get that top seed that they've been striving for all year. And what a game like that shows the team, like, you're going to have to play that kind of game against Dallas. Don't want to be too, I don't want to assume too much, but you're asking me, I'm taking Dallas over Minnesota. You're going to beat Dallas with Jake Ottinger. You're going to have to do the same thing you did last night with Connor Hellebuck. (719-247-1313). Take your thoughts on Nathan MacKinnon's MVP chances. That's our question of the day. Yes, Ray? Is Nathan MacKinnon NHL MVP? You could go to our Facebook page at 740 KVOR or at Extra Sports 1300. Comment there. I want to get, speaking of the question of the day, some of you came in a little bit later on the Jamal Murray, Carmelo Anthony question, and I will get to your thoughts on that because I have more on Jamal Murray as he gets ready for an encore performance tonight against the Utah Jazz. Coming up next, though, we now know the ideas that are being kicked around by the NBA to curb tanking. See if you like them. You're listening to 740 KVOR and Extra Sports 1300. Tax day is almost here. That was way too enthusiastic. Tax day is almost here. But here's where I can get enthusiastic. Don't stress. Enter the Uncle Sam's giveaway for a chance to win $5,000 to bail you out. Head to extrasports1300.com or kvor.com to enter this national contest for your chance to win $5,000 with the Uncle Sam's giveaway, sponsored locally by Kruger Brothers Construction. Plan now, build stress-free. So I think before I get into this, and I got to pull up the Shams tweet because there's no way I'm going to be able to repeat these off the top of my head. Can we just all get on the same page about what the NBA, who the NBA is looking out for when it comes to tanking? Because I think that's the thing that keeps getting lost here, is that this is not, if you say this is for the fans, Adam Silver, you are lying. All I have seen is on social media is Utah Jazz fans defending to the death what they are doing and defending it against Adam Silver, who they feel unfairly punished them for doing something that you and I feel like was beyond the pale. Being in a competitive game and intentionally taking out players for the fourth quarter in order to lose the game. That's what Utah did. That is deserving of a fine. But the idea that they are tanking the season, I don't have a problem with. And you know, more than that, who doesn't have a problem with that? Jazz fans. Do you know who doesn't have a problem with tanking? Wizards fans. You know who didn't have a problem with tanking for years on end? Sixer fans. Don't tell me this is protecting fans. It's not about the fans. And I said this the other day. Nugget fan. If you're a Nugget fan, do you care at all that the Wizards and the Jazz and the Nets and these other teams are tanking? Do you care at all? Have you given it even a thought beyond Utah doing what it did? And I have said it repeatedly. That was crossing the line, and you have to check teams that do crap like that. But if you're a fan of a good team, what do you care? What do you care? Are you that worried that the Utah Jazz are going to get, one of the two Carlos Boozer kids and all of a sudden are going to be better than the Denver Nuggets? And if you're a fan of Utah, that's the only hope you have. Right? You're just not going to be able to build your team to be at that. I mean, just look at the Nuggets. Look at OKC. All of their main talent is homegrown. How are the Jazz supposed to be able to do it? No fans should have an issue with tanking. Really shouldn't. This is about protecting the investment from Amazon, NBC, and ESPN. It is about their television partners. The fact that their TV partners are paying gobs of money in order to buy a product where really 2/3 of the teams are even worth considering putting on television. That's what all this is about. So if you really want to go at the problem, Adam Silver, here's what you do. You say that the TV money is only distributed amongst the teams that are in the playoffs. You really want to combat tanking? That's the way to do it. Say, if you're in the lottery, if you want to tank, that's fine. And the plan would be you tank, you're going to get the top pick, and now you're going to be a good team that's worth putting on television, and now you're going to get the TV money. If you want to punish teams who are tanking on behalf of your television partners, then don't give them that money. But that's never going to happen. Why? Because the owners that are tanking want that revenue share. So that's never going to happen. But I'm just saying, if we're throwing out ideas that will really curtail tanking, because then if it's only distributed to the teams that are in the playoffs, and I'll include the play-in as well. So you're talking 20 teams. 20 teams divvy up the television money on a yearly basis. Okay? You're going to have owners coming down from on high and saying, you better get into that play-in because I want that national TV money. That's what they're going to care more about. And if you're really, really bad, yeah, you take it on the chin for a year, but you get your guy, you get Cooper Flagg, you come back the next year and you're on national television. And there doesn't even have to be a threshold. Right? If you are, it doesn't even have to be, are you chosen? It's just, if the previous year you are in one of the top 10 spots in each conference, you get the next year's money from television. You would be serving the right master here because you're talking about TV networks. And that is going to curb tanking. I promise you it will. It will never, ever happen. But I'm just using it to show and to make clear who we're talking about. We're not talking about fans. Fans understand that tanking is a viable way to get their team back on top. The Denver Nuggets did it. Almost every team in the league has done it at one point in recent memory. Now, since the NBA is not going to do really what is necessary to curb tanking, this is what they have in the meantime. Yeah, Ray, did you have something? Sorry, let me turn you up. What were you going to say?
Well, two things. One, I have the rules right here if you want me to read them to you, what Shams is producing.
I have it.
And two, do you think fans are upset because when it comes to seeding, right, later in the playoffs, and you're looking at, like, right now when Nuggets are going against the Lakers for trying to get that 3 seed?
Well, let me ask you, because you've been talking about this a lot.
Yeah.
You looked at the schedule today. You were sitting in my office and you were looking at the schedule. And I think you came to the same realization that I did, that everything is probably going to be status quo after tonight in the NBA. Nuggets aren't going to move up. Lakers have the Nets. OKC has somebody bad. And San Antonio is not playing a good team either. How did that make you feel? Were you upset that the Lakers got the Nets? And tonight's a tough night to do it because the Nuggets have the Lakers. Right. Or Nuggets have the Jazz. But take it this way. Nuggets are playing Houston tonight. And the Lakers are playing Brooklyn. Does that make you upset?
I mean, yeah.
It makes you upset because you're chasing, but you know that the Nuggets are going to play the Nets the same amount of times. Right. So it's not that, I mean, right now the timing, I understand, doesn't feel great, but the Nuggets will get the same amount of games against Brooklyn, against Washington, they get even more against Utah because they're a division opponent. So I don't think there should be that. It's a good question. I just don't think there should be that because it's a pretty balanced schedule.
Right.
And now it's being a little bit prisoner of the moment. If you look at the schedule tonight and say, this is not fair.
Well, it's like, if you look at the remaining schedule, like if I'm a Lakers fan, I'm upset. Because if you look at the remaining schedule, the Lakers play Cleveland, Thunder twice, Thunder twice, the Warriors, and the Nuggets play like Jazz and some bottom of the tier teams.
Right, they get one game against San Antonio, one against OKC, right?
That's but those are like the last 2 games of the year, and the rest, let's see. It's
but again, The Nuggets played the Thunder more than the Lakers do.
Yeah.
So
does it
neither one of them has to play the Spurs as much as Houston does.
Does it make you upset or just more like would that make a fan like, oh, this is why tanking's such a bad thing? Or is it just I'm just annoyed at the schedule and how the cards play?
I think it's the second one. I think you're annoyed at the timing of these matchups, but you have to zoom out and understand that your team, just to make the Nuggets Lakers comparison, because that's what we're really talking about here. Nuggets play Brooklyn the same amount as the Lakers. They play Washington the same amount of times. They play. So I don't.
I see what you're saying.
See why
that doesn't involve tanking. It involves scheduling.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you're like, you know what? You would, and I know the Nuggets history has been, you and I were talking about this too today, where watch the Nuggets go out after the last couple of nights they had and lose to Utah tonight.
Yeah.
Like, setting that aside for a moment, aren't you kind of glad that there are a few nights where you're like, okay, this is fun.
Yeah, no.
You get to play Utah. You get to play Washington. You get to play. So, yeah, this is about the television networks, which is fine. They're paying a lot of money, but let's just call it what it is. That's my problem. You're not calling it what it is. You're not talking about the right thing. This is not about the fans. This is about your television networks. But here's what the NBA has reportedly come up with. And I hope that you are alert. You've taken your caffeine for the day, because either this is going to break your brain or you're going to doze off. So please, if you feel like you're at risk of that, pull over to the side of the road when I read these, because it is crazy. Number one, 18 teams in draft lottery, seeds 7 through 15 in each conference. Flattened odds, with bottom 10 teams having an 8% chance. The remaining 20% odds distributed in decreasing order for 11 through 18, and a lottery drawing for all 18 picks. Number two, 22 teams in lottery using 2-year records, seeds 7 through 15, plus the 4 playoff first-round exits in both conference. Like, I'm going to spare you the rest. Okay? They came up, if these are right, they came up with 3 of the most word salad, nonsensical changes that aren't going to do anything. I'll give you the summation of these 3 ideas that the NBA has thrown out. None of them are going to work. All of them still leave a great chance for teams to tank. So if this is a problem that must be solved by the NBA, I don't think it needs to, but I'm also not the head of NBC or Amazon. If this is a problem that you have to fix, Adam Silver, the only way, the cleanest, I should say, the cleanest, because I've heard a lot of things that all make a little bit of sense. Here's the cleanest way to do it. Just flatten the odds for everybody. You're still going to get the teams that are battling for the play-in tank. There's going to be more incentive for them to drop out of the play-in, but that brings the number of teams that are tanking down. And once a Utah or Washington gets to a certain point, they're like, well, it doesn't behoove us to continue to lose games because we're already in, we're already eliminated. Now we're going to try to win some games. Or you go the way that Ray has been touting, which is you create the NBA Cup, make these teams play for it. Now, the scheduling is going to be kind of a nightmare, but that's another way that you get competitive games, because it's a competition problem, is what they're looking at. You're getting these teams to compete. But what is my incentive if I'm a player to try my rear end off to get the Wizards the number 1 pick so they can draft my replacement? You tanked the whole year, and I may be on a roster bubble, and I am going to help deliver you. You've wasted my whole season. Now I'm going to step up so you can get a guy that will replace me. You see what I'm doing here? Like, I throw out those and they're cleaner and they're easier to understand. They don't fix it. They just don't fix it. And I'm not saying that you don't try to fix problems, but there isn't a magic bullet here. And Adam Silver has been hyping it up like they're going to come up with the magic bullet. You're just not going to be able to. Major League Baseball had a similar kind of an issue with the 3 outcome at bats, right? The analytics people took over and they said either home run, strikeout, or walk. Nothing else is any good. And it led to a worse product. So Major League Baseball made some tweaks, not sweeping changes, but they were easy tweaks to make. Moved the bigger bases, moved them closer together. Or didn't move them, they're bigger to encourage running. Now it matters more. Now you don't go station to station. It was a simple change. It hasn't stopped teams. There are still plenty of teams that are of the mind of the 3 outcome at bat, but you get just a little bit more. So can you find something that is easy to explain that just takes the number of tanking teams down a little bit? Because you're never going to fix this problem completely. You're never going to be able to eradicate it. And that's what they're acting like they're going to do. It's a fool's errand. And throwing out 3 incomprehensible changes isn't going to do anyone any good. So make a small tweak. I have a big tweak. I've said, eliminate the draft lottery, give them what they want. So you cut down on the recidivism and you put guardrails in place. You say, if you are a repeat offender, if you are tanking multiple years, that second year or year 3, you can't draft in the top 5 or top 10. Give them what they want. So you're limiting it to one team, 1 year. I mean, multiple teams will, but a team will tank 1 year to get their guy, knowing that it does them no good to tank the next year because they're going to be outside the top 10 or outside the top 5. But they don't want to abolish the draft lottery. I don't know why. Here's another thing, and as it's coming to my mind, the small tweak, like baseball making the bases bigger, that could curtail it a little bit. Get rid of pick protections. You want to talk about something that's difficult for the average fan to comprehend, pick protections. A big reason why teams tank is so they can keep the pick that they traded away because it's protected 1 through 5 or 1 through 3. You get rid of those and you say, if you want to trade your first round pick, go right ahead. Trade as many of them as you want. They're not protected. Your first round pick in 2028, if it's 1 or if it's 30, goes to the team you're trading with. That's the way. You're not going to completely eliminate tanking that way, but it's a tweak that will disincentivize some of the teams from doing it because they're like, wait, we made a big trade that blew up in our face and we traded, our first round pick, which has no protection on it. And now if we're bad again, we're going to give that team a top 5 pick. They're going to try to win in as many games as they can. That's the way. My way is, I understand it's correct, but it's radical. So let's do this. Eliminate pick protections and watch tanking become less of an issue. Simple, easy, clean. We can understand it. Nuggets trade their first round pick to Brooklyn in the Cam Johnson deal. If the Nuggets are really, really bad for some reason and it's a top 5 pick, that's what Brooklyn gets. If the Nuggets finish with the best record in the league and they're pick 30, that's what Brooklyn gets. Pretty simple. Why we don't got to do all this stuff. 719-247-1313. Coming up next, you will hear from switchback striker Corey Bennett, who's off to a terrific start to the season. You're listening to 740 KVOR and Extra Sports 1300. in match one. How important is that for someone in your position to get one on the board early on in the season?
Yeah, very important. I was brought here to score goals, so 5 minutes in, I couldn't have asked for a better start. But the important thing is the consistency. So keeping it going, and good team performances as well.
Well, and people will look and say consistent. Well, does that mean that you have to score a goal every week? And I don't know that that's the case. It just means that you're getting your opportunities and you're testing goalkeepers. So do you feel like you've been consistent from match one till now?
Yeah, I feel like I've been consistent. We've played 4 games so far, which includes the Open Cup. I have 2 in 4, so that's pretty good returns. But I can, based on data, watching film and all that, I can go even more and do even more for the team. So that's really the plan. There's more to my role than just scoring goals. There's a lot I have to do defensively as well for the team. So goals are the thing that everyone sees, but there's a lot more that goes into it for me.
How much pride do you take on that side of things?
Yeah, my role is very important for the defense of the whole team. When we defend, I set the press. I try to force center backs to do things that they don't want to do with the ball. I try to throw, teams off whatever strategy they think they're coming with. My role is to kind of disrupt that, and so far we've been doing well. And as again, it can get better. Still early in the season.
You had that big year in Vegas. Last year with Sacramento, when you were in the 11, you were incredibly productive. So how important was it for you to land in a place that's going to give you those regular starts like you've already seen here in Colorado Springs?
Yeah, very important. Speaking to Coach MacKinnon before I came here, I was already sold. I know Coach MacKinnon for almost 10 years. A lot of people don't know that. He knows the type of person and character I am, and vice versa. I know who he is as a man and, as a coach. And, coming here, felt comfortable being around him and being around, just a really well-run organization. So, it feels really good for me. And obviously, I've been getting, more of those opportunities that I think I deserve. And, I just want to repay this club and Coach MacKinnon as best as I can.
How does the relationship between you and I know it's more players, it's Juan, it's Jonas, but we've seen you, Yosuke, and Levante. How has that relationship been, and what do they do well that allows you to do your job better?
Yeah, each player is different. So each relationship has to be individual in terms of knowing what Yos is good at or what Yos wants from me to make him better, and vice versa. Same with Levante, same with Juan, same with all of the attacking guys and even the midfielders. With every player, you try to build a personal relationship, so we understand each other's strength and we can play off of that and produce once we get onto the field.
Were you also a track star growing up?
Yes. Yes, I was. I did track and field until I was 15 years old in Jamaica. And I was pretty good. I did the sprint hurdles, and I was one of the best in the country, Jamaica. And at that moment, I felt like I had some offers for football, and in Jamaica the track and field pathway is really staying there, and I was good at both.
Yeah,
I love football. I come from a family that loves football, soccer, as we call it here, and so that went into my decision where I choose football, soccer.
How do you end up all the way up in Boston to play your college ball?
So as I said, I had a lot of offers in terms of college, and there was a coach. He actually coached at Switchbacks a couple of years ago, Brendan Burke. He was at Philadelphia Union as an assistant going into college, and he came to Jamaica to recruit for college because he knew he was going to college the next year. So he started doing his recruitment, and he came to watch a game. And
I know the way things ended in Orange County did not sit well with you guys talking to Allen. What is going to be the thing that you guys got to get back to, or you guys got to do in order to get back on the right side of the result against New Mexico?
Yeah, that game we kind of felt like it was so heartbreaking because I felt from an overall performance, we did pretty well to at least get a draw, in my opinion. The last minute goal, it was, gut-wrenching, but it's something that as a group we learned from. This week we kind of got that out of our system, and now that's behind us now. We're all focused on the next, which is the New Mexico game coming up.
Safe travels and best of luck, Corey.
Thank you.
That is switchback striker Corey Bennett. Can imagine a better debut for him in El Paso, where he scored just 5 minutes into the match, and he's been very good for this team, a team that certainly needs a guy they can rely upon to score goals. And I'm very curious to see tomorrow how this team comes out, because if you just take away the heartbreak of Saturday's game against Orange County, and you look, they went from, and I was talking to Alan McCann about this, you go from a 20-minute stretch against El Paso where you're just out of sorts, not doing the things you need to do, and you get burned by it. Okay, next game, Las Vegas, it's about a 10-minute stretch. You get burned by it, but you're still able to compensate and find a way to win. So good on them for that. Then you go to Orange County, it's literally 90 seconds. Literally, that's it. 90 seconds where they weren't themselves, they weren't playing at the level they are capable of, and once again, they got burned. So, and Alan McCann told me, he told the boys he was sick for them because they so deserved to win that match. But the thing was, they didn't get the lead that they should have earlier in the game to make that goal not hurt them as much. So it's a painful lesson to be learned, but it means that the switchbacks are closer to a complete performance. Back after this. Welcome in. Appreciate you tuning in, and thanks for watching. Anywhere you scroll, as long as you follow at 740 KVOR or at Extra Sports 1300. If you could do me an even bigger favor, like, subscribe, and most importantly, comment, because this is an interactive experience. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, Iron Lion Collectibles will be in studio. We'll be breaking some packs today in a new segment on the show. Very excited about this. Was an avid card collector, maybe like you when I was younger. Didn't collect at the pace that I did when I was younger as I got older, but this has become big business and a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to getting back into it with the guys from Iron Lion. So that's coming up at the bottom of the hour. I hate to start here, but it is breaking and it is big news. Now, we'll start with the fact that Tiger Woods is okay. But Tiger Woods got in a rollover accident this afternoon in Florida. And you think back to that last wreck that he had that has basically put him out of commission for years, right? We keep waiting for Tiger Woods to do what he did at that Masters and come back one last time. We keep waiting that one last time, and then he gives it to us, and then we're like, one more time, Tiger. But he had the accident. That one, there was nothing, I guess, wrong with it here. Just had an accident. This one, not so much. Because Tiger Woods, after authorities arrived at the scene, arrested him for driving under the influence. And we'll see where it goes in terms of charges and all that kind of stuff. But it is another chapter in what I think you have to say now is the tragic story of Tiger Woods. It's become a tragedy. Not that Tiger Woods has been the victim at every turn, right? And today is another example of that. What happened with the infidelity, and that wasn't, I mean, you don't blame that on his wife or anything else. That's him, right? So he hasn't been a tragic figure necessarily, but the story of Tiger Woods will go down as a tragedy. And you think back to like the origin. I don't want to make this sound like a graphic novel or movie or anything like that, but you think back to Tiger Woods, and I'm reading a new book that I hope to have the author on very soon. Actually, it's supposed to be on this week, but it didn't really work out scheduling wise. It's called Project Tiger. Highly recommend, if you just unsolicited, if you'd like to check it out. And it's a book that really focuses in on how Tiger became Tiger. Right? And focused on what Earl Woods did and what Tiger's mother did to support him. And it's not all negative, but and it's a worthwhile read, but it arrives at a very similar conclusion to what we have had all along. Is that more than anything else, it's not to say that Tiger Woods' parents didn't love him. It's not to say that they were the worst parents that anybody could ever ask for. But there were just so many times where, in the name of the book being Project Tiger, I think sums it up perfectly. It was like they were building a rocket to get to the moon rather than raising a son. And even Earl Woods admitted when he was alive that the relationship between he and Tiger was more friend than father-son. And it just, not that I'm a parenting expert. Of course, I've made mistakes along the way. I made mistakes I don't even know I made. I'm not trying to make as I raise my two sons. But it just appears like there was a hole in the development of Tiger Woods. And he was so singularly focused on golf that there was nothing else for him. And when the high of winning majors wasn't enough, he turned to some other things that he turned to excess is what it is. I don't, gambling, I'm not necessarily opposed to, but there's a limit, right? And he turned to excess, and then it ruined his marriage. And some of the ways he dealt with that ended up ruining his career. Or at least made it so he couldn't continue his career. He's never catching Jack, right? And that's what this whole thing is about. He's never catching him. And it's just, it's sad. It's just really sad. Don't want to, chastise anybody here. But this story of Tiger Woods will go down as a tragedy. And even with all his accomplishment, you'll still wonder what if. You'll still wonder if some of this stuff wouldn't have happened. What would we still have Tiger Woods regularly on the PGA Tour, regularly competing for majors? How many more would he have? Would he have already caught Jack? And it's crazy to think, right? Somebody who has accomplished as much as Tiger and there's still meat on the bone. But that's what a sport like golf provides you. You could keep playing if your body holds up. And it's the tragedy of Tiger Woods, the private figure, and the impact it's had on his marriage and his children. And it's the tragedy in some ways of his upbringing. And then it's been things that aren't necessarily anybody's fault, and just the body not willing to match up with what is in Tiger's mind and heart, right? His body has been failing him. And we're just a couple of weeks away from the Masters. There was more conversation about maybe Tiger being in the field. And now that's obviously going to be out the window now. But you thought, and it just, again, I don't want to wade into any waters that I'm not able to swim in here. But if there's an addiction involved here, it's just a reminder that the addiction, it can come back. Or the behavior that is tied to the addiction can come back. You're never completely, no pun intended, out of the woods. It's always, a part of you, and plenty of people have been incredibly successful. And there was a long stretch of time where Tiger was successful in keeping that part of him from consuming him. But I don't want to read too much into things, but when you have somebody that has had the history of Tiger Woods and an incident like this happens today where he wrecks his car and then he's taken into custody for driving under influence, it's like this is not out of the blue. This is not as unfortunate as it is to say this, it's not as shocking. So you just, Tiger Woods, I know he doesn't feel this way, but he's done enough. I know we always want more. We always want Tiger to step back onto that stage and do it one more time for us. But we have to admit, Tiger Woods has done more than enough. He has transformed a sport. He has inspired an entire. I'll tell you, I don't get into golf without Tiger. My dad and grandfather were really into golf. Till Tiger Woods came around, I didn't golf. I mean, he has done more for that sport, more for that tour, and more for golf fans than can ever be reciprocated. And yet we want more. We may not get more. This might, never say never, but man, at some point there's got to be a final blow here to where Tiger Woods, recedes into the background, never to be really seen again. Maybe as an analyst, maybe this TGL thing, but he's going to have to lay low for a while. So I don't know when that next time will be, but it's certainly not going to be at Augusta here in a few weeks. Again, the breaking news of the afternoon, Tiger Woods involved in a crash and was taken into custody for suspected driving under the influence. If anything else comes about in this story, we'll be sure to bring it to you here within the next hour. Take your thoughts, 719-247-1313. Coming up next, we go from one GOAT to another as Michael Jordan still catching shade from Isaiah Thomas all these years later. Wait until you hear the next thing that Isaiah did to try and diminish who Michael Jordan was. That's next here on 740 KVOR and Extra Sports 1300. Again, we're a little too hyped up for this first line. Tax day is almost here. Womp womp. But don't stress. Enter the Uncle Sam's giveaway for a chance to win $5,000 to bail you out. Head to extrasports1300.com or kvor.com to enter this national contest in which you can win $5,000 with the Uncle Sam's giveaway, sponsored locally by the fine folks at Kruger Brothers Construction. Plan now, build stress-free. So, as you may know, because we were all watching The Last Dance during the pandemic, you know that Isaiah Thomas holds a bit of a grudge against old MJ. And I thought that we were kind of done with this stuff. Like, I understood to a degree Isaiah's frustration with the way that everything was portrayed in The Last Dance, but also Isaiah get in line. I think Michael Jordan's number one teammate has maybe a bigger gripe than you do. But I thought said your piece, all these feelings brought up about the dream team and everything like that. You said your piece. Now we move on. But apparently Isaiah Thomas has not let this go. And he will take every opportunity to try to diminish the legacy of the NBA's GOAT, even if it comes across as patently ridiculous as this.
I said to Kevin Durant, hey, if you would have played back in our era and they put you in the triple post at that mid post area and they took Michael Jordan out and you played with Pippen and you played with Kukoc and you got to run into the mid post, would he have won 6 championships? Absolutely.
That's crazy talk. That is absolutely cuckoo Looney Tunes Cocoa Puffs talk. Okay. And this is not to say that Kevin Durant isn't a supremely talented player, because he is. And why is Isaiah Thomas making this? Because Kevin Durant just passed Michael Jordan on the scoring list. But here's the thing. Isaiah Thomas either doesn't want to understand or didn't comprehend the moral to the story when it comes to The Last Dance, or the biggest takeaway from The Last Dance is that Michael Jordan drove everybody on the court with him to be the best that they could possibly be. He was a jerk about it. Absolutely. But he raised the level of everyone around him so that Bulls team is looked at the way we look at it. And Scottie Pippen, who is one of the 50 best players of all time, maybe he could have even gotten to that level without Michael. But we don't talk about Scottie Pippen this way if he doesn't spend his vast majority of his career with Michael Jordan. What do we say about Tony Kukoc and Steve Kerr and any of these guys that played for the Chicago Bulls back in that day? Michael Jordan, whether they like it or not, got them to play at the highest level they were capable of. He drove everything with that team. Also, Phil Jackson's stuff, and I'm not demeaning Phil Jackson either, but he had Michael Jordan and he had baby Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. With all of the Zen stuff that he does, it doesn't work unless he has somebody like Michael Jordan or somebody with Michael Jordan's mentality, which we now call the Mamba mentality. It's the same thing. Kevin Durant, as brilliant of a basketball player as he is, let's look at his track record. So he gets OKC to an NBA Finals. Fair play to him. They don't win a title, though. Okay? Forgivable. A lot of great players have never won a title. Kevin Durant got that team to an NBA Finals. Okay? He goes to Golden State. He is the best player on Golden State when they won another title and when they were arguably the best team in the history of basketball. He was that. But the culture, the foundation was already there with Steph and Kerr and Draymond and Clay. So he took something that was already great and made it even greater. He didn't lift up the Golden State Warriors. Okay, he came in and was able to showcase his ability, which is supreme on that with that team on the NBA final stage, and he won. Okay? Then he goes to Brooklyn. It's a disaster, despite being perceived as a super team with him and Harden and Kyrie. It's a disaster. They win nothing. He goes to Phoenix, a team that without him went to an NBA Finals, and they don't go to another one. And now he's in Houston. That was the number 2 seed last year. And they're the 6th seed, and they're falling apart at the seams this year. Okay, I'm not saying that Kevin Durant is causing bad things to happen. I don't want to say that Kevin Durant detracts necessarily from teams, although you can argue at this stage in his career he might. But one thing you could say, you have to be able to say about Kevin Durant is that he's not going to lift up the guys around him. He is who he is. He's a supremely talented scorer. He's one of the best we've ever seen. But he is not driving a team to a championship, let alone 6. And you just have to understand, Isaiah Thomas, the difference between an all-time great player, which Kevin Durant is, and all-time great players who elevate everyone around them. And you know what the thing is? And I will say this for Isaiah Thomas, even though he is completely off his rocker on this. He was a player that helped elevate his team. I think Isaiah Thomas was that kind of a player, so he should know what it looks like. Kevin Durant hasn't elevated anyone from being less than a championship team to a championship team. He's never done that. And since he left Golden State, he has left 3 franchises in ruin. Because he is not the kind of player that's going to elevate everyone around him and drive them to be great and to win championships. Kevin Durant does not know what it takes to lead a team to a championship. And he's a better player than Scottie Pippen. So Kevin Durant would be the best player on those Bulls teams. Just like Kevin Durant's maybe the best player on Houston. He was the best player on Phoenix. He was the best player on Brooklyn. Where did it get him? That is ridiculous. If you want to say Kevin Durant with Michael Jordan would have won 6 titles, I'm right there with you. But come on. The idea that you could swap out Michael Jordan for anyone. Let me just punctuate the end of my many sentences here with this. You can't replace Michael Jordan with anyone and get that unprecedented level of success. You just can't. You can't plug in any player with that Bulls team and get that exact result. That's what makes Michael Jordan the greatest of all time. Not just what he does individually as a player, which you could argue LeBron James is more talented than Michael Jordan. You could argue that you can't even argue it. It's fact. Kevin Durant has scored more points than Michael Jordan. But it's the intangibles that helped Michael Jordan drive the Bulls to being The greatest team ever assembled. Man, Isaiah, I know you don't like the guy, but come on. You have a career. You have a career to worry about, man. You can't be saying stuff like this. Coming up next, the boys from Iron Lion Collectibles will be in here. Let's break some packs on this. We really call this opening day because the Rockies are opening up, but let's break some packs here on 740 KVOR and Extra Sports 1300. Welcome back, Drive Time Sports. Very excited about this segment that we're launching today, and we'll hopefully be doing it much more as we proceed. We're partnering with our friends at Iron Lion Collectibles. You know the place right behind Red Robin on Academy, or at ironlioncollectibles.com. We got Cole and Hector in the studio. Fellas, great to have you.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
So as I was teasing that you guys were coming on a little bit later, I talked about my experience, obviously growing up as a collector, and even into, adulthood. Maybe I'm looking to collect, Rockies players or Nuggets players or something like that. But now there's this whole cottage industry of breaking, and I think people are hearing about it, and they're wondering, what is this and why is this so big? So I will turn it over to you two, because you're the experts, to explain what this phenomenon is and what you guys are doing at Iron Lion.
Yeah. So basically, breaking is be able to open a lot bigger quantity of cards, like an entire case instead of just a hobby box or pack, which increases your odds of getting those massive case hits, on-card autographs, numbered cards, which means there's only so many in the entire planet across 10 million boxes or so. And so going with a breaker gives you a higher chance of getting that, because you're not just opening one-off pack, you're opening the entire sealed case, which the odds are over tenfold of getting those big hits, because in a case or a hobby box, you actually have guaranteed odds of getting certain autographs.
Yeah, and in this scenario too, doing a break, you can mitigate the cost by sharing it with many people rather than purchasing the entire product on your own. Yeah,
it's kind of like people get in like investment clubs, right? And they say we're all going to share the cost, and then we're all going to reap the benefits together. So, and that's a great point that you bring up, because some people are like, well, I got to buy a whole set in order to do this. Now, a whole set isn't necessarily that prohibitive, but again, to share with other and allow you, right? It's the law of averages a little bit, right? The more you break, the more opportunity you have to do something. So, what is it today that you guys have brought us that we are going to break here live on air?
We have some 2026 Series 1 Topps 75th anniversary mega box packs. This set is super cool because you can pull 75 of the biggest cards Topps has ever done, including a 1952 Mickey Mantle and PSA 7 worth over $1 million.
Oh my goodness.
It's nuts.
So that's crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And that's cool, because it seems like the card companies are leaning into this and are giving incentive for people to get into this by producing these cards that are going to be so incredibly valuable. So you mentioned the Mickey Mantle. That's the holy grail. That's what we're looking for today. And I'll let you guys, because you guys, and I want to say this too, you guys do this all the time. Where can people find you guys on a regular basis outside of this segment that we're doing today?
Yeah, our two platforms are going to be on our website, ironlioncollectibles.com. That's where you can jump into all of our breaks. You can pretty much see what selection we have available, everything from Disney to sports to comic book breaks. And then on top of that, we are live on Whatnot every single day. We do comics, we do sports cards there as well.
Sweet. So with that being said, gentlemen, do your thing. We got here.
Awesome.
Let's find $1 million card, fellas.
Let's get into it, folks.
Yeah.
So basically, we're looking for the big players like Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge, the big rookie class like Nick Kurtz, and more. But it's not enough anymore to just get some of your favorite players in a base card, because there's so many millions of those cards out there. So what you're really looking for is you're looking for numbered cards, autographed cards by these players, or even jersey swatches that have been authentically worn in games, including like the World Series.
Yeah, I remember those in those single packs. Whenever I got a game used, a slice of the bat or jersey, those were always pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super interesting when you come across those relic cards, just to know like this has been in the game. This has been closer to the player than I probably ever will be.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. So we're looking for numbered cards. There's a lot of really cool inserts that are gorgeous that feature a lot of the top players in the league right now and a lot of the new young guns. But we're really looking for ones that are numbered in particular, not just the regular base, like I said.
Yeah. And that's one misconception with breaks too, and with collecting cards in general, is that a lot of people might find their favorite player. You might stumble across a Michael Jordan, but if it's a card that's printed so heavily, unfortunately, it doesn't kind of carry the value that a signature or a numbered card would.
Well, and especially you bring up Michael Jordan, that's such a good point, because Michael, though he was playing at the time when the market was being flooded, right, with these cards, and it made now personally the value was still very high to get a Michael Jordan card, but if you're looking to sell it or anything like that, or to have something of real value, just wasn't the right time to get
junk
those
wax.
Cards.
That's what we call it.
There you go.
Junk wax.
Yeah,
yes, sir. What you got there?
So one cool thing about this is if you're opening mega boxes, value boxes, or anything, there are exclusive treatments on these cards that you can only get in certain products. So a lot of the harder products to get, like Breakers Delight, have exclusive cards that you can only really get with Breakers that have a higher inventory that they buy.
Yeah. So what do they call this parallel here?
So this is the Crackle foil.
Crackle.
Right, so that's Jeff Bagwell. That's a sweet looking card. Bagwell,
Yeah.
Also got a
Hall
Byron
of Famer.
Buxton.
And
For
Byron
the Twins,
Buxton,
that one
right?
is sick.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wicked. Now, not enough for a down payment on a Toyota just yet.
No, not yet.
But
not the Bagwell. Would a Craig Biggio be any better? Another one of the killer bees.
Closer, that's for sure.
Yeah. But that's the beautiful thing about it too, is now you can just commit to either a single team, if you're doing a sports break. If we're doing characters and maybe like comic book cards, you can commit to a letter, maybe like the first letter, or sometimes we do random spots too. So rather than, purchasing the entire product, you just buy a single spot, single letter, single team. And when we open that product, you get all of that letter, or you get all of that team that comes out of it.
Oh yeah, and there's a big difference between, if I wanted to buy the entire case myself, it would be over $1,000, but a single spot for a team, every card in the entire case could be as low as $20 or $30.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Amazing. And one of the most important things that we always talk about with breaks too is make sure you're going with a reputable breaker.
Yes.
Somebody that's professional and somebody that's transparent.
Yeah.
Because when people rip open those packs and they get their hands on those cards that cost commas, you want to make sure that you're getting that.
So for those who may be wondering, so you guys do this, on Whatnot and things like that, and people can bid on those cards, and you guys will be like, hey, this is worth this much. But there's also a way that they could come in, I assume, to Iron Lion and do this with you guys. Do you do that?
Sure. Well, we do offer personal breaks. So all of the breaks will sell prior to us opening the product. You purchase those spots, the product is then open, and then you receive that team.
Okay. I think that's a very important distinction for the newbies in it, is that this is an investment you make in the front end.
Yes.
And then you guys are the experts to be able to let them know that what they got is something really valuable.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and something I wanted to touch on is a big thing with cards now is grading, right? It obviously was big a while ago, but it's even exploding every year. And so if you go with a reputable breaker, they will immediately, any of those nice cards you get will immediately be sleeved, top loaded, even put in a mag case if needed, and sent to you with the utmost care. So if you do choose to grade that card in the future, it'll get a very high grade, like a 9 or a 10 with the BSA.
Yeah. I have to say, when we sat down with Dave there at Iron Lion, that was my biggest fear. I'm like, I don't know that I want to be the that is doing this. So please get your guys in here to help me out. I don't want to be responsible for for whatever is on these fingers on a daily basis.
Yeah, seeing the shaky hands of a brand new breaker is one of our favorite things.
What's that scene from Modern Family where Phil buys the extremely valuable, it might have been Mickey Mantle card, and then he gets tased and he squeezes yes. I would be worried about something like that happening.
That's the nightmare.
Me,
What'd you find?
So this is a 1991 75th anniversary insert of Chase Burns with the Cincinnati Reds. It's meant to look like a card from 30 years ago, and across the 75th anniversary set, they pay homage to all those classic baseball sets.
So what? I don't know if you know off the top of your head. What would something like that be?
This particular card, maybe anywhere from $5 to $10.
Okay.
So a lot of the base and inserts that flood a lot of these sets are typically not worth too much. But again, the ceiling is astronomical.
Okay. And I'll mention this too, and you could see it if you're watching the live stream, is that anything that you see here today is available at Iron Lion, and you can even get a 15% discount on anything, whether it's what we do or whether it's what Iron Lion already has, by using the promo code DRIVE15. That's 15% off anything in store or online at ironlioncollectibles.com.
Yes, absolutely. And a thing that you are looking for that isn't as rare as these big numbered cards or autos are the big rookies, right? Like Jack Caglione, this one's nasty. Just stars of the MLB, and all those rookie cards in 10 years when they become superstars and big players, people want the rookies in high grades and stuff like that. So whatever the rookie class is, even if you're just getting base cards, the cards can still be exciting.
So how much prep did you guys end up doing with this? You know, we're sitting here, I guess day 3, if you want to call it, of opening day. All the Rockies are getting ready to play here in about 20 minutes or so. So how much cramming did you guys do in terms of learning this particular rookie class that's coming into Major League Baseball and you know, adding to that?
Yeah.
Like, I got to imagine you guys are up on what rookies to watch out for this year in Major League Baseball as much as I might be.
Yeah. It's very important to stay educated. I mean, an average breaker shift is about 10 hours a day. We might be on camera for 3 hours at most in a single day. The other 7 hours are spent educating.
Nice.
Research. Yeah. Making sure that we're on top of our game, because we really want to make sure that our customers have the most knowledgeable, best experience that we can provide. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. 7 hours a day on the research.
When you say it like that, then
that seems easier.
You're gonna have your doctorate in breaking. You know,
no joke. If not a bachelor's.
Get out of town.
So we're just looking through these base flipping. There's going to be about 2 or 3 inserts per pack, and we're hoping that one of those comes numbered like this one. It's a profile by Ken Griffey Jr. on Bryce Harper. Super cool insert designed by Ken Griffey Jr. So that one's pretty cool.
Let me see that. That's awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, go Phillies.
Sweet. Another Bryce Harper.
I don't know if I agree with the go Phillies.
Try to sneak that one in there so often, you know?
Yeah, he's always saying go Birds. It's tough, you know.
Oh, okay.
One of the hardest parts of the job. Listen to him.
We've started off on the right foot. I won't talk to you about the fact that my team is the one that played your team in the Super Bowl
last
time out.
Holy guac and
moly!
Yeah,
I know. You know, we hit it off initially, but I knew there was some darkness deep inside you, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles fan.
Attention makes it exciting, you know.
Like, we just pulled a really, really nice one here. So not only is this the profile by Ken Griffey Jr. of Cal Raleigh himself, this is the pink parallel, which is one of the rarer versions. It's the rarest version of this card that's not numbered. So this one's still worth a pretty penny. So that's a pretty cool card right there.
Amazing.
So what would that be? Because I think there's some people that are like, oh, I'll go and get that one from Iron Lion this weekend. What would that?
So you can get this card anywhere from like $10 to $20, if not lower. It could grade, if it grades in a PSA 10, it could be upwards of $100. But again, we really are looking for those big numbered cards that you see a lot in Hobby and Breakers Delight.
Sure, but still, I mean, and we can't forget to we're here breaking and all of that, and there's a specific goal in mind. But also there's some people like, hey, I'm a huge Mariners fan, and here's a card with Ken Griffey Jr. and Cal Raleigh. Like that has some significance to me. And so maybe it's not what we're ultimately looking for, but along the way too, if you are like, hey, I would like that Cal Raleigh, Ken Griffey Jr. card, it's going to be at Iron Lion Collectibles. So. Yeah.
Exactly. And we keep all of these cards for sale in our store and online. And even if customers break with us, we offer on our eBay, we offer consignment. Yeah. So nice. You can immediately consign with us if that's something that you want to do and make your money back right away. But as you were mentioning, just because it's not monetarily really high in value, if you're passionate about the team, we all have different reasons for getting into these breaks. And that's one thing. I might have a couple dollars worth of Eagles cards, but I display them like they're gold.
Exactly. You guys talked about it too. When you do the breaks, I can go in and say, I want all the Rockies cards. That's what I'm after. I don't know if there are any Rockies. Are there any Rockies cards in this set?
Oh, absolutely.
That would be so yeah, great. I get that, but I also just want all the Hunter Goodman and all these Rockies players because I'm a fan. You guys mentioned that earlier. Yeah.
1,000%. So you not only get the rookie class if any of those Rockies become superstars,
right?
But there's always a chance at a 101 superfractor. That means in the entire world, there's only one of that card, which makes it instantly worth thousands.
Yeah. And I don't know that it would be in the best interest of Topps to print too many Rockies cards with where they are right now. So I think most Rockies cards might be kind of rare.
So just for example, now we just got through a whole box, which is, what was that? 10, 15 minutes? So yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you're looking for a single box product, about 15 minutes. But we normally, as we mentioned, break full cases. That way your options and your odds are a lot higher. So we might, spend an hour on camera and having a good time while we stream through and try to find some big hits.
1000%.
And because of the time of year it is, and historically baseball, when you talk about being a card collector in the sports world, it is baseball. But as you look at the entire industry right now, is there like a ranking? Is baseball like number one in terms of breaks, or is there like an NBA set, NHL, like some of those other sports that maybe right now aren't as hot right now as baseball? What are some of those other ones, like the most popular ones that you guys kind of do?
Most desirable break?
I would say definitely football. NFL is big right now. The last seasons have been big, but there's also a surprising demand for things like golf, NASCAR, F1 that we all have cards and breaks for that are really cool. Soccer.
Yeah, how much has as the sport has emerged like Formula One has, and it's all the rage right now. In fact, Broncos part owner Lewis Hamilton, that tie-in and everything like that, has that in your industry grown with the how much that sport has grown over the last few years?
Oh, absolutely. It's almost exactly correlative to interest. And those superstars, right? Like Max Verstappen cards are going for a ton right now, especially as autos and things like that.
But when you do a break and you get Max Verstappen, you have to do the little Max Verstappen, right?
Of course. Disney has been surprisingly popular lately too.
Yeah. Absolutely. So when I was in your shop the other day, my son's really big into Disney, and there's this new set of cards, this new game that's out. Is that what you guys are talking about? So I got him a couple packs. He wasn't overly pleased, but like any card collector, now it's just stoke the flames that he wants to get more and more and more until he gets the wins. But tell us a little bit about that, because that's kind of hot right now, right?
Yeah, so there's Lorcana. Yep. Lorcana is a big TCG, a big trading card game that people are into that represents a bunch of Disney characters. But also, what the Disney product you opened yesterday, you got the 1 of 1, didn't you?
It's a 1 of 1 on-card sketch. So there's also CCGs, which are collectible card games, right? So they don't necessarily have a playing aspect to it. So there's like Topps 70th Anniversary Disneyland, where you can get autographs from all the voice actors across Disney's history.
Oh, that's really cool. What so you mentioned you had a big one yesterday on the sports side. What's the best card that you guys have?
In recent memory,
I pulled
the Cam Scataboo true 1 of 1 rookie auto out of Panini Select.
That's amazing.
That was a delight. I was screaming my mind off. That was so cool.
Oh, I heard you from across the studio. Yeah, we went cartwheeling over. Fair market value on that, roughly?
Oh, that's a name your price card, easily over 20,000.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That is crazy.
No joke.
Yeah. So. Again, anything may not have been as fruitful an endeavor today, but that's the beauty of all of this. And we'll have hopefully Cole and Hector back in on a weekly basis to do more of these breaks. But obviously, as you guys mentioned, you do this regularly on Whatnot and on ironlinecollectibles.com, and people can get involved there. And then right now, if you use the promo code DRIVE15, Drive Time Sports, DRIVE15, you can get 15% off anything in store on North Academy right behind Red Robin, or online at ironlinecollectibles.com. Those where you can use that promo code is for the live auctions that you guys do. I want to make that distinction as well. So that it was fun, and I look forward to us doing it again soon. Anything else that you guys want to get out here before we part ways for the day?
Absolutely. Yeah. First and foremost, thank you so much for having us, guys.
Yeah,
it's always a blast educating the community on this. And speaking of educating the community, the last Saturday of every month, we do Sports Card Trade Night. We host that at Ironline Collectibles. As you mentioned, right behind that Red Robin. And you're able to bring in your own cards. You get a massive discount when you come in, and it's kind of a way for the community to get together and show off their collections.
Yeah, there's free food. We even have discounts for police, firefighters, and first responders.
Right on. So ironlinecollectibles.com is where you guys go. Why don't you give your I see you on social media, Hector. What about can people follow you guys, their favorite breakers?
I mean, yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at that one guy Cole7, and I know Sir Hector's building his own brand.
Yeah, Sir.Hector on Instagram. Any questions, curiosities, or requests, find me on Instagram.
Absolutely. And Iron Lion Collectibles and the Breaks are both on Instagram as well. We tagged them in our post earlier today when we were promoting that you guys were coming on. So we'll till next week, gentlemen. Yeah, that was fun. Thanks for coming in. It's Cole and Hector from Iron Lion Collectibles. Again, ironlioncollectibles.com is where you go, and you can get 15% off anything in store or online by using my promo code DRIVE15. That will, for those of you listening on Extra Sports 1300, the second half of the Sweet 16 starts up. What a wild night last night was in the Sweet 16. We'll see if there's more of those fireworks tonight. And those of you who are on KVOR, my thoughts on an MVP type night for Nathan MacKinnon of the Colorado Avalanche.